Today was a very special day for us. Simply our first few moments you've shared with us in our first formal headquarters offices ever that Honest Reporting has had, a place that we can train, teach, monitor media, lecture, students coming in the classroom full loads, that at last we can say yes, we can spend an hour or two with you. We can give you the tools, the tips, the resources you need to help speak up for Israel. This is our 15th mission, and every mission a greater mission to bring people up close and first hand with the issues that they won't see in the news, about the things that they do hear and read about in the news, often uncomfortably so, and without the means to respond effectively, to really have the facts, to have personal first-hand insight. You know, Israel's so good at relating to the data, whilst the rest of the world is busy relating to people. And people relate to people, and we relate to data. So bringing people up close with personal stories that they can take back to their communities and their homes and engage people on the people-to-people level, not the people-to-data level, means that the data that we have to hand from websites, from ministries that we're drowning in, can be translated and turned into personal stories that make a difference, that can be heard by an audience out there, which for the most part is willing to listen if only we could communicate with them effectively. That's our job. That's what this office right here is designed to achieve.
How would you really define this media war that we're part of? I mean, you're basically training the soldiers in this war, the emissaries of Israel. It's
Ayman al-Zawahiri, Al-Qaeda's new number one, after his predecessor was sent to his demise last year. Osama bin Laden was replaced by Ayman al-Zawahiri, who in 2005 already advocated to his troops to be warned that we're in a battle, and more than half of this battle is taking place in the media. It is a war. It is their weapon of choice. It's a communications battle, and the first step is making people aware that there is a media war taking place. I think that we are asleep globally to the very fact that under our nose, media that we consume daily with our breakfast is being used in the fight against the legitimacy of the State of Israel and the Jewish people. So my first task is to wake people to the issue before training to make a difference with the issue itself.
So what's basically the problem? Where does it come from? Is it the people themselves, the journalists, the editors, or is it mainly the information that they're getting and their connections?
Yes, probably all of the above. In different degrees, different times, different places. There is some naivety. There are pressures of deadlines. There are challenges to a journalist trying to do a very tough job in a hard region under deadline, and being sloppy with your work might be the first place that you would fall down. That's on the naive, easy end of the spectrum, but the more sinister, agenda-driven end of the spectrum would be where an editor perhaps would push a local correspondent towards the story they've already written, and to simply deliver a head for that story, a head for the body of that story. And when people away from the region have strong agendas, there's nothing more important than giving the local correspondents the materials and tools that they need to lean back on their editorial superiors and say, it ain't quite like that, here's why.
What is your opinion about cases when people say there's no chance? We've heard this sometimes. People said, I don't even want to go for an interview with them. Do you feel that there's always a chance that no one should give up?
Always. It's 20, 30 years of failings on the media front in terms of not just Israel, but global jury and Friends of Israel. We have not learned that the way we communicate matters, and therefore it may not seem that it's worthwhile. But every engagement, every human experience that an editor or journalist has with an Israeli or friend of Israel or Jew who says, yes, I'm willing to speak, I'm willing to have a conversation, that reinforces the reality that we are not monsters, that there are people living here, living a tough life at times, who are very much like you, but a little different. So it is always worth it. The tipping point may not be apparent, but we make a positive dent in correcting our communication failures in Israel's favor for every time we have the guts to stand up and say, I'll do that interview. It may be unpleasant, it may be uncomfortable, but we've got to do it because the other side is doing it and doing it well.
So in terms of what you try to teach your people here, it's to mainly be a better audience, or also to be active and respond?
Both of those things, but what I think is lacking on from Israel's perspective is we expect someone else to be the ambassador, and the other side has historically understood that it's the grassroots, it's the individuals who are the ambassadors and spokespeople. I want our community, our supporters who are here this week, to themselves learn how to more critically read and consume media, but to become the spokesmen and women who they previously may have demanded Israel put up there. because it isn't for a government necessarily to do that task. I want them to become the advocates to articulate Israel's cause.